I've played 39 newly released cozy games in the year of 2023 so far. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking them from last to first. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Payton. It is nice to meet you, it is nice to see you, and welcome to the corner. Oh my goodness, 2023 has been such a crazy year for cozy gamers, and the year is officially more than halfway over. Last year, at the end of 2022, I wrapped up my year here on YouTube by making a tier list ranking from last to first of every cozy game I played in 2022. This was a lot of fun, but honestly, it wasn't so hard because I had really just started getting into cozy games at the latter half of 2022. This year has not been the same. So I am planning on making an official, definitive end of 2023 ranking every game I played in order and on a tier list, but I feel like to help me get there by the end of the year, we're gonna do a midpoint of the year check-in and rank every game I've played this year so far. Now, the criteria for today's video is the game has to have released in 2023. Either it's a brand new game to never have existed before, or it's a game that was out previously, but it came to console this year, specifically Nintendo Switch. Early access games will be included on today's list, but only if they are paid early access versions, not unfinished free demos. For today's video, we're looking at games from January of 2023 to June. I know what you're thinking, Peyton, it's the end of July, where are the July games? Well, in case you didn't already know, every month on this channel, I have a series. At the end of the month, I review every single game I've played so far in the month. I'm still working on July, so we're dealing with up until June for this video, but if you want to stay tuned for what I thought about July's games, stay tuned. That should be out in a few days. Now, since there are, spoiler alert, 39 games on the list, I will be flying through them a little bit quickly, but every single game included on today's list has been featured and has been reviewed on my channel before in my monthly cozy game ranking series, which I'll link the playlist down below, except for one game that I played in February before I started doing those videos, but we'll get to that, Another thing to say, some of these games were very kindly gifted to me by the game developers or the game publishers. You will see, just because a game was gifted to me, it does not affect how I felt about the game. But for full transparency, I've included every single cozy game in the description, as well as let you know which ones I was gifted. Okay, before we get into it, please be sure to click the lovely little like button, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content. And if you want to see me play cozy games live, I live stream on this YouTube channel several times a week. Lots of cozy games. We would love to see you there. Okay, I need to shut up because we have a tier list to get into. Okay, so getting started, I've already figured out the tier list. Actually, I figured out the tier list live on stream with my members, so if you want to see the agony I went through to place these games in order, you can go ahead and check that out by joining the Sloth Squad. We would love to have you. Okay, so we are going to be doing this tier list style, but we are going from 39 to 1. We're gonna start out with the lowest tier, which is D tier. Now, I don't think any game I played this year so far is a bad game. It's really just if I liked it or if I didn't like it. So our D tier games are gonna be the games that I didn't really like so much compared to all of the others. C tier games are gonna be games that I thought were just okay. B tier games were games that I thought were good. I enjoyed them. A tier games were games I thought were great and I really, really loved them. And then S tier games were the best of the best. They were my favorites of the year so far. Keeping in mind, I'm still on a first impressions basis with a lot of these games, so I may very well change my mind by the time we do this at the end of the year. Okay, starting out with 39th position, we have a game called Paws of Coal. Paws of Coal is a short mystery game where you need to solve the case of why so many rabbits are falling sick. Using clues given to you through dialogue and light exploration, you need to gather all of the information you can. And once you think you've solved the mystery, you can submit your hypothesis to see if you've got it right, and if you didn't, you can still experience the story's multiple endings. Okay, so this game was not my favorite. Obviously, it's in last place. I love a mystery, but this one just felt a little overwhelming to me. The heavy amount of dialogue mixed with the complicated medical terminology just made this one sort of feel like an exam rather than an adventure. I found myself not being as invested in cracking the case as I wanted to be, and I think this one is better suited for when you have extreme focus and not a more laid-back, relaxing, cozy gaming style like I opt for. In 38th position, we have a game called Constellations. Constellations is a minimalistic puzzle game all about connecting dots to form, you guessed it, constellations. The game provides a meditative experience by providing calming music and beautiful yet simple graphics. Constellations, in premise, I love. In execution, I was too stupid for this game. Okay, no, but really, I do think that this game would have been better had there have been a tutorial or a hint system from the start, as I found myself constantly confused. And I do admit that I'm new to these kind of puzzles. Being there was a lack of direction, it definitely took me out of the meditative experience. And honestly, I love a tricky game, but this one was too tricky for my brain that it made me not want to come back. In 37th position, we have a game called TERRA. TERRA is an environmental building and strategy game that has you restore a destroyed ecosystem. You'll work with various types of machinery to bring life back to the environment, but then clean up your machines and leave the land to thrive in a natural way. I really love the premise of TERRA. I love games like this that pay such a heavy focus on the environment, planting, gardening, all of that good stuff. Living in New York City, those aren't things that I get to do so very much, so I really enjoyed the premise of this game. And I will admit that getting to see the ecosystem restored was super satisfying. But it is lower on this list because I didn't enjoy the strategy aspect so much, and that was so much more of the game than I thought it was gonna be. It's definitely more of a puzzle game than a builder, and without being able to pre-plan what was coming next, I did not find a lot of success when it came to 100% restoration. Also, I feel like I was just really thriving for this one to be a little bit more creative, give me a little bit more freedom to do what I wanted to do, and there were just a little too many limitations for me to keep track of and to follow. Coming in at 36 on the list, we have a game called PUPPERAZZI. PUPPERAZZI is a game with a simple premise. There are dogs all around who need their photo taken, and it's up to you to find them and take their picture. While exploring multiple areas and utilizing different camera modes, there are tons of different photos you can take. Now, normally, it's hard for me to critique a dog game. I see dogs, I'm on board with your game. But for this one, it just felt like there wasn't so much to do. While there are tons of really cute dogs to see, the quest just didn't feel satisfying. Sometimes you would take a photo of something that you needed for a quest, and it just wouldn't register at all. Whereas other times, you could just take a random photo of nothing, and it would randomly count toward your quest. Pretty much though, this game just felt like it was stuck between being an open sandbox game and a game with rules and quests. And I just think it would have been better had it have chosen one route or the other. And that is your D tier. Here are the games. Like I said, these are games that I just didn't like as much as the other games. We just had some pretty tough games to match up against this time. Moving on to our C tier games. These are games I liked better than the D tier games, but they were still kind of just okay games for me. Starting out with number 35 on the list, we have a game called The Ranch of Rivershine. The Ranch of Rivershine is a life and farming sim game all about caring for and training horses. The game sees your character move to a brand new ranch that you need to build up. There are crops for you to grow and then use to feed your horses, and there are opportunities for you to use the horses you acquire to compete in different cross-country competitions. I love the idea of this game. I've not played a horse game as an adult, but you know, little baby Payton'sCorner loved a good little horse game, but this game just feels incomplete. The world is so pretty, but it's filled with so little story. lifeless NPCs, and mainly just a lot of open, unused space. I do think this one has the makings for a cute horse game, and I do really enjoy how the horses look. There's so many of them, and the NPC portraits are super adorable. But in the game's current state, I don't really have that much to say about it. It just feels like it needs a little bit more put into it to really climb up the list and be a more memorable experience. The next game on the list, coming in at 34, is called Inhabit. Inhabit is a short puzzle game all about prioritizing your mental health. Your character has been in a pretty bad spot for a while, but today's the day they decide to try to make a change. In the game, you'll go around your home doing different chores that have been neglected, and each chore is personified by a cute and positive NPC with their own puzzle series to beat. Each puzzle is different and more complex than the last. Inhabit is such a great game for the price. This one is only a few dollars, and it does give quite a bit of content for that amount of money. But I will say, it is giving you a decent amount of playtime because the puzzles are really, really hard. While I did enjoy them, I feel like a game with such a heavy focus on mental health may benefit from including a hint system or a level skip option, as it is very easy to get very stuck on these puzzles. And the puzzles are pretty much the whole game, so if you can't figure out the puzzle, there's not a lot for you to do. I really love the premise of this game so very much. I just would have loved to see them take this premise and run a little bit farther with it. The next game on the list, number 33, is called Tray Racers. Tray Racers is a free-to-play racing game where you and your friends can race across various levels set in a post-apocalyptic desert complete with tons of cacti and other fun obstacles. You'll be able to customize your character and your board and play with your friends cross-platform or also locally. Honestly, I don't have a lot negative to say about Tray Racers, but being that it is a free-to-play racing game, there just isn't as much content as some of the other games on the list, which is why it is lower. I do really love that the game gives you practice rounds, but I do wish you were able to select your own levels, and if there was just a little bit more variety as far as the courses go. But being that it is a free-to-play game, I don't feel like I have so much of a right to complain. I do think you get quite a bit for a free price. The next game on the list is our first controversial entry of several. I'm so sorry. Coming in at 32 is Everdream Valley. Everdream Valley is a farming sim game that puts the animals at center stage. You play as a kid staying on their grandparents' farm over the summer, and you quickly learn there is a lot that needs to be done. Specifically, there are a lot of adorable animals scattered around the valley that you need to find and bring back to the farm, all while also doing the other regular farming sim stuff like planting, harvesting crops, cooking, and more. The twist of this game, though, is at night you get to dream as one of the animals you've acquired and play in different mini-games as you experience the night as that animal. Now, this game is so low on the list because it was one of my biggest disappointments of the year. Now, I reviewed this one very in-depth, but to summarize, I was so looking forward to this game, and it just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I really thought the magic dreaming part was going to be way more integral to the game, and it just wasn't. You actually don't even get to do the dreaming until many, many hours in the game. In addition to this, I also experienced tons of bugs, and the tutorial of the game is 4 to 5 hours long, which is way too long for it to also not feel like I even understood how to do everything. And I also really didn't love how empty the world was. There were no other NPCs other than Grandma, Grandpa, and a merchant, and there is no town or buildings you can go in. You can't even go in your own house, actually. The animals were the best part for sure. They did not disappoint, but they weren't enough to make me really love this game the way I wanted to. And there's your C tier for you. My games that I enjoyed, but they were just okay. Moving on to our B tier games. Starting out with number 31, we have a game called Above Snakes. Above Snakes is a Wild West building and survival game. In the game, you get to build your own world piece by piece, while navigating various biomes and battling against the elements, or even worse, dangerous lost souls, aka zombies. The game will have you gather resources, construct bases, craft weapons and tools to hunt, fish, farm, and fight as you play along the main story, or just take your time to build your space. Okay, this game was so different for me, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to check this one out, because I think that this one is a little far out of my comfort zone. Now, it might not have been the coziest of the cozy games I played, but despite the inclusion of hunting animals, which I try to avoid in cozy games as much as I can, I actually was pretty relaxed, building my own space and gathering resources. Even the zombie encounters didn't feel super scary or overwhelming, most likely because the visuals were so zoomed out, it kind of felt like a small thing that was happening. I just didn't really find myself rushing to get to the next part of the story so much, but I did enjoy expanding my space and trying to survive. It's lower on the list because while I did enjoy it, I just didn't find myself coming back to it, and I think that could just be the style of game I enjoyed, but not as much as some other kind of styles of game that I favor a little bit more. The next game on the list, coming in at number 30, is called The Witch of Fern Island. The Witch of Fern Island is a life and farming sim game where you play as a young witch who is just washed up on a random island, and there you learn that the island is actually not just a random island, but it is full of magic and secrets. So you decide to stay and continue your magic training there as you befriend the townspeople, grow magic herbs and animals, and of course, learn new magical abilities. I actually really enjoyed this one, but it is farther on the list because admittedly, I just didn't get to play this one as much as some of the other games. Like I said, I do first impressions reviews, so I play a few hours of each game. This one, I felt like I didn't play enough of to really see it all. That being said, from what I did see, it is early access, but it doesn't feel like a complete game at all. Things often felt a little bit clunky, without direction, and kind of empty. But it is higher than some of the other games on the list because the charm and the character is really there for this one. And I did enjoy exploring, even when I didn't know what I was doing. I can definitely see the potential, and so far I do like the characters, learning about the different cultures, and seeing the different magical herbs and animals. This one, I think, with time and perhaps with its full release, it could be a really great magical farm sim game. But I feel as though it's hard to compare farming sim games to each other, and this one I just didn't find as enjoyable as some of the other ones. Coming in at number 29, we have a game called No Place Like Home. No Place Like Home is a farming sim game of the future that follows a girl named Ellen, who decides to pay her grandfather and his farm one last visit before she moves to Mars. She soon discovers that her grandfather is completely gone, and the whole place is trashed. Like really, really trashed. In this game, it's your job to clean up trash, restore the farm, and rescue the lost animals, of course, also finding out what happened to Grandpa. Okay, I said this in my full review of the game, but I stand by it, I'll say it again. This game is less farming sim game and more cleaning sim game, as the cleaning is the main part of the game. But honestly, I did enjoy picking up an exuberant amount of trash. Though I didn't love the tutorial style of this game, because it was all at once and with only visuals, no dialogue, I still found it to be a pretty unique farming sim game, and though it was a little confusing at first, it got a lot better to understand. There's definitely a lot of humor in this game, which I liked, and what it lacks as far as my favorite farming sim stuff, like being able to romance characters, for example, it definitely makes up in its own unique style. Clearing the trash, decorating, and even accessorizing the animals you would find, Still felt like a pretty good time, and things that I don't often see in all the other farming sims. The next game on the list, coming in at number 28, is called Song of the Prairie. Song of the Prairie is a farming sim game where you play as a hero who leaves their hectic life behind in favor for starting a new, calming, rural one. You'll get to have your own farm with giant, oversized crops and animals, and get to experience the magical secrets of town while getting to know tons of NPCs and having the chance to befriend and romance them. So I was actually recently pretty critical of Song of the Prairie in another video I just made that was called Cozy Games I Stopped Playing. I will still be critical here, but I will let you know why this game ended up being so much higher than the majority of farming sim games on the list. So I really don't like that this game is gender locked. You can only choose between male or female at the start of the game, and the male is automatically the fisherman, and the female is automatically the gardener. You cannot change your occupation, and you cannot purchase outfits that are specifically locked to the opposite gender, which I found to be extra frustrating in a game that otherwise has so much creative expression. I also don't enjoy the NPCs. While they look cute, they do behave rather strangely, and their dialogue doesn't make sense, but I do believe this is due to the translation of the game not being as smooth as it could be. But despite these things, Song of the Prairie is higher on the list because it absolutely nails its aesthetics. The world is larger than life and beautiful. The farming is pretty seamless, and being able to save from anywhere and having no load screens when walking into buildings is another plus. While I definitely don't love everything about this one, its style and its aesthetics were so strong that I ended up putting it a little bit higher on the list than I initially thought I would. The next game on the list, coming in at number 27, is called Pile Up. Pile Up is a strategic, industrial-style building game where you need to build houses, fulfill people's requests, and manage your risky buildings in different ways on small land. If you don't manage your buildings right, you might just blow everything up and need to start again. Pile Up is a really fun building game. I really enjoy the industrial style and the idea that everything has to fit on such a small space. Now, I wasn't very good at the game because I think the management aspect of it is a little tricky, because once you place something, it's hard to see what it was you placed, and the building styles don't really make it clear all of the time. But still, I found myself being sucked into playing it more and more to try to figure it out. I definitely wish some things were a bit more clear, but I had to put this one higher up on the list because I put so many hours into this game and I had so much fun, even when I blew things up. The next game on the list, coming in at number 26, is called FABLEDOM. FABLEDOM is a laid-back fairy tale city builder, where you'll enjoy the growth of your settlement, trade, and use diplomacy to ally or challenge your neighbors, and most importantly, find yourself a prince or a princess and live happily ever after. With tons of buildings to upgrade and manage, you'll get to do a fair share of customizing and also staying on top of things. FABLEDOM definitely succeeds in what it is calling itself, a laid-back builder. The graphics on this one are so whimsical and stunning. The flying pigs especially captured my heart, and I really love all of the different buildings you can make, the giant map there is to expand into, and also that there are quests weaved into this game, especially when it comes to interacting with other lands. I just wish there was a little less sameness in the game. I don't love that every FABLEDOM looks exactly the same, and that they don't have any personality, and there aren't really as many fairy tale elements as I thought there would be. This is one that I definitely think and know will keep expanding, and I do like the game for what it is, but I'm definitely a little hungry to see more. Coming in with our next controversial pick on the list, number 25 on the list is Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. In Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, you'll put down roots on your new farm in the peaceful town of Forgotten Valley. You'll forge precious memories as you weave your own generation-spanning tale of friendship, family, and of course, farming. You'll bring life to the land by cultivating crops and raising animals, finding love among the town's friendly folk, and make lasting memories with a family of your very own in this reimagining of a beloved farming sim classic. So I was very critical of this one in my review video, and I stand by what I said, but I do have to acknowledge, even though I didn't love this one, there is a significant amount of content and the game does feel like a completed game. So it definitely had to go higher than some of the others on the list. I just feel like even though it does feel finished, it's way too simplistic for my preferred type of farming game. My main critiques were just that I felt like there wasn't that much to do. It wasn't overly complex, and I just have other farming sim games that I like more. But I do have to hand it to this one for having fun characters and the ability to literally grow old with them. I know this one's a slow burn and I just need to put more time into it and then maybe I'll see even more things that I like, but for now, I felt like this was a good tier for how I'm currently feeling about the game. The next game on the list, coming in at number 24, is called Refresh. Refresh is a short and simple 3D exploration platformer collect-a-thon game where you play as a little robot who needs to collect materials to help your town after a torrential storm. Okay, this one I struggled with where to rank it, not struggling with the game, because it is definitely one of the most simple games on the list, and I felt weird about putting this one over some other games that had a lot more content to them. But I really, for this one, had to weigh the content versus how much I enjoyed the game, so that's why it's up on the list higher. While it was quite a quick playthrough, the world just felt so adorable, and the platforming was the right amount of difficulty. Not ridiculously easy, but also not super hard. The only thing I didn't really love was the game's length and the depth. I feel like even if the platforming was quick, I just wanted there to be a little bit more to do with the characters and the town other than what was already there. But regardless, I really enjoyed this cozy gaming experience. It definitely felt like a true cozy game, and this is a really good option if you're looking for a lower priced cozy game. I have to judge it based off of the price and the content. I think there's a lot for that. It's not as incredibly complex as a lot of the other games on the list, but for that price and for what it is, I feel like it's a really great game. The next game on the list, coming in at number 23, is called Storyteller. Storyteller is a puzzle game about building stories. Storyteller lets you build stories using a visual language. The goal on each level is to make a story that fits the given title by placing settings and characters that react to each other, creating a narrative through their relationships. Storyteller's comic panel design and charming animations allow for experimentation within the framing of its many stories. All you really need to do is drag and drop the characters and see how the story plays out. Storyteller is such a fun puzzle game. It definitely has a lot of humor and a lot of character in it. And it felt like it was a nice difficulty level. Some levels you can totally breeze through, but others you do need to stop and think about. And I did really enjoy the comic strip style and the fact that there are multiple ways to solve some of the puzzles, meaning you can go back through and play some levels again. The only downside to this one, once again, is that the game is a little bit short, and there isn't a creative mode in this one where you can make your own puzzles, which I think would be a really great addition to this game, but overall, I did enjoy it for what it is. Coming in at number 22, we have a game called Frog Song. Frog Song is a heartfelt adventure in a fantasy world of frogs. In the game, you talk to weird and wonderful characters, fight vicious bugs that are still cute, don't worry, and explore a vibrant world in this charming action RPG. Seeking a better life, Chorus moves to a village where members of the Defense Guild train under the wisdom of an old veteran. They quickly learn that things aren't going to be as easy as they hoped. With a powerful army and a mysterious rumor both on the rise, Chorus needs to discover how they can protect the ones they love before it's too late. This game was a game that came out of nowhere for me. I hadn't heard about it prior to its release, so I went in with zero expectations, and I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed playing it. It is more of a simplistic gameplay style, but it does have plenty in it. There are lots of areas to explore, characters to meet, and tons of settings to adjust the combat and puzzles to your liking. Meaning that you can definitely make this one more easy and more relaxing if cozy vibes are what you're after. I don't really have anything negative to say for this one, it just is a shorter experience, but one I have really been enjoying. The next game on the list, coming in at number 21, is called Ogu and the Secret Forest. Ogu and the Secret Forest is a 2D adventure game with hand-drawn characters and various types of puzzles. You'll get to befriend bouncy characters and defeat strange creatures to unravel the mystery of this charming world. This game is adorable. The characters and the world of this game are just so fun and full of life. I really enjoy the game's art style, the customizations you get for Baby Ogu, and the moments where you get to stop and just take in the beautiful scenery. Ogu will literally have moments where they can stop and draw the moment they're experiencing, and you can actually collect it, which I think is really sweet. I also am really enjoying the puzzles. The only con is I am once again too stupid for them, and they do take me a while. I do love that we can restart them a bunch of times, but I do think in the future maybe a hint setting would be nice. Regardless, I think this is a really great cozy adventure game that I think more people should be talking about. The next game on the list, coming in at number 20, is called Hamster on Rails. In Hamster on Rails, you'll join the best and the bravest railroad builder on an incredible journey to search for precious minerals and save the beloved hamster village. You'll travel through 4 intriguing worlds, such as a forest, a desert, and even a medieval area in a total of 64 challenging stages. You'll use different pieces to build railroads and overcome obstacles to solve fun challenges. Use levers to change the direction of the tracks and buttons to help activate or deactivate different mechanisms, such as doors and traps. You'll also help your friends along the way, find hidden chests, and earn new looks. You'll get to dress up your hamster as a strawberry, give them stripes, or even polka dots, and more as you make your way through this hamster-filled puzzler. I am also shocked to see a hamster railroad puzzle game this high on the list, but it's that good. I love this game so much. It has such a cute style, the customizations for the hamsters are really fun, but the main thing is, the puzzles are a perfect difficulty level. Some puzzles definitely stumped me, but they aren't so hard to figure out that you don't want to do it. 64 levels may not sound like a crazy amount, but I feel like each one does take a nice amount of time, and they are constantly adding in new mechanics as you get further and further, which I think keeps the game fresh. Yet another game I've heard not that many people talk about, but I feel like they should be. The next game on the list, coming in at number 19, is called Dordogne. Dordogne is a short narrative game that features a stunning watercolor art style that will take you through a heartwarming journey of collecting lost memories. In the game, you'll play as Mimi, and you'll get to explore the precious recollections of your childhood and the times you shared with your late grandmother. As the past meets the present, you'll confront your adult choices with fond memories to uncover lost family secrets. Dordogne is definitely one of the most visually stunning games I've ever played. While the story is on the shorter side, I do appreciate how much detail and love went into the story length that we actually did get. I really enjoyed getting to take photos in the game and making my very own scrapbook to remember my playthrough experience, as I was experiencing Mimi's life. While I do wish you can go back and revisit different chapters without totally starting over, I do think the journey is very captivating, emotional, but still maintains a cozy atmosphere. The next game on the list, coming in at number 18, is called Melon Journey Bittersweet Memories. Melon Journey Bittersweet Memories is a story exploration game with a nostalgic Game Boy-esque graphic style that's all about getting caught up in the outlandish happenings of a small town where melons are illegal. Silly and cute on the surface, but things aren't as peaceful as they may seem. In the game, it's your job to explore, meet crazy characters, and talk a lot about lemons. This game was so strange, and I loved it. I loved it. It's another shorter game, but I was invested in this one. The gameplay mechanics are simple. You just go from room to room to room until stuff happens, pretty much. But still, the world manages to feel big, even though you're literally just going room by room at a time, and it feels like there is a lot to interact with and to explore. The characters are wild, unique, and very specific, and the story is just fun. Humor absolutely exudes through this little game, and while I did find myself getting lost a few times, I was always really excited to see where I was going next. And that was your B tier games. That was the biggest category. Moving on to our A tier games. Starting out with number 17, we have a game called Hello, Good Boy. Hello, Good Boy is a heartwarming, wholesome narrative adventure game featuring Aiko, a boy who's new to the afterlife. With no memory of what brought him to the world beyond, he must rely on Coco, a strangely familiar and insanely adorable dog who will help him solve the mysteries of this new existence. In the game, you journey through the unknown, yet familiar places, each based off of the 4 seasons. You'll meet fellow souls on their own adventure through the afterlife. You'll need to pay it forward with generous favors for them, and try to figure out why the heck Aiko landed in the land beyond in the first place. This was such a beautiful experience. While simple, I do think the game is really effective and the story is super clear. It's a journey about helping other people while discovering things about yourself. Aiko's story is revealed through the other whimsical and unique characters we meet in the game, which makes every new encounter interesting. The world is broken up into 4 seasonal doors, and each one is gorgeous, vibrant, and exciting to explore. It is yet another shorter game, but you'll definitely want to replay this one as you only get to go to 2 of the 4 areas in each playthrough, so you'll have to play at least twice to make sure you see all of the different areas. Coming in at number 16, we have a game called The Shape of Things. The Shape of Things is a relaxing puzzle game that takes Rubik's Cube's basic concept, but focuses on real-life objects with more of a soothing, cozy vibe. In the game, you'll experience a relaxing atmosphere from the comfort of your cozy room by solving small 3D puzzles inside collectible gachapons and find the original shape of things. The game features a multitude of locations and items to put back together, as well as the ability to change the atmosphere's time of day and weather to suit your own ideal cozy needs. I loved this game. I feel like I talk about this game all the time. I loved this game so much. It's so simple and yet so complex. It is such a vibe though. You can absolutely hyperfixate on this one, or play it while watching something else or listening to music, which to me makes it a very cozy game. Overall, this is a really great one to pick up and put down at your own leisure and play as you want to, and I certainly do that. Coming in at number 15, we have a game called Panorama. Panorama is a relaxing puzzle simulation game that allows you to create breathtaking landscapes using different types of tiles. In Panorama, you'll discover a wide range of structures, each with their own unique abilities that will enhance your landscape creation process. Whether you want to create a serene forest surrounding a forester's lodge, an endless ocean full of geysers, or a bustling city filled with unique buildings, the possibilities are limitless. Panorama is the highest ranked building game on this list. I really enjoyed this one. It has challenges for sure, but it is much simpler and easier to follow compared to very similar tile placing building games. This one has so many fun building options to choose from, and trying to unlock all of them is difficult but exciting. It also definitely succeeds in creating a relaxing environment with its vibrant visuals and very calming music. I may not have unlocked all of the buildings just yet, but I find myself always excited to go back to this one, and even when I don't 100% it, it still feels like a satisfying and relaxing experience. The next game on the list, coming in at number 14, is called WILDFROST. WILDFROST is a tactical, roguelike deck builder with what I deem to be very cozy graphics. In the game, you get to journey across a frozen tundra, collecting cards strong enough to banish the eternal winter. How the game works is that for each run you do, you'll get to pick a leader from a variety of tribes that are totally randomized, with different skills and abilities. Then, you'll get to choose companion cards to back you up and hopefully help you win the battle. You'll collect additional cards, charms, and companions along the way to try to make it to the final boss. And if you don't, well, you can just start all over again and again. I have never loved a game that I am so ridiculously bad at as much as this one. I cannot even get past 2 battles in a row without losing, but I enjoy every second playing this one. I've never played a deck builder before, and it's not my usual style. But this one is very easy to pick up. It has lots of fun cards and characters, and even when you lose, you still are unlocking new things. And it's also got fun music to underscore it all, so it doesn't feel too serious. I think sometimes your enemies are stacked a little bit too highly against you, but I do know that they have adjusted this in a recent update, so maybe I'll start winning more. Regardless, every time I sit down to play this one, I play it non-stop. The next game on the list, coming in at number 13, is called Finding Hannah. Finding Hannah is a relaxing puzzle game about a woman navigating a midlife crisis. Hannah's got it all: a well-paying job, a fancy coffee machine, and a comfortable life. So why isn't she happy? In the game, you'll lead her on a journey of self-discovery as you explore beautiful scenes and find hidden objects. The current early access version follows the first 3 episodes of the story, which take you through Hannah's current life and the lives and experiences of her mother and grandmother, which all have very different stories to tell and aesthetics to discover. This game completely exceeded my expectations. It features a Where's Waldo, I Spy kind of puzzle, which I didn't really think could be that deep or challenging, but I was wrong. The narrative in this game is so captivating. The characters and the scenes feel so vibrant, even when you're staring at the same thing for so long. And the merge puzzles that serve as a way to gain more points for you to unlock the next chapter might even be more fun than the regular puzzles. Overall, this game takes puzzle solving to a whole new level, and it is a level that I absolutely love. The next game on the list, coming in at number 12, is called Fall of Porcupine. Fall of Porcupine is a one-of-a-kind story adventure game where you get to explore the collision of work and daily life, an exciting reflection on an unhealthy healthcare system. In the game, you'll step into the town of Porcupine and play as Finley, the newest doctor to join the ranks at St. Ursula's Hospital. As the seasons in the small town change and life starts to stir, you'll soon realize that things aren't always what they seem. Not everyone is honest with themselves and others. The healthcare industry is not as illustrious as it seemed, and the work-life balance Finley strives toward might be impossible to achieve. And you'll navigate the story by exploring new characters and playing different mini-games to help with patients in the hospital. While admittedly I'm not super far into the story of Fall of Porcupine, it is definitely one that has stood out to me. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface as far as the narrative goes, but I am really deeply captivated by the aesthetics of the game, the characters, and mainly the really fun and diverse mini-games. I don't see that many medical cozy games that manage to tackle real subjects, but still balance it with fun and cozy vibes, and I think Fall of Porcupine does exactly that, and that is why I'm so interested in the game, and it's been one of my favorite ones to play so far. The next game on the list is one of the biggest cozy games of the year. It's coming in at number 11. This game is called Mail Time. Mail Time is a relaxing cottagecore adventure set in a peaceful forest far away. It's your first day on the job as a newly minted mail scout, equipped with a mushroom hat and an unbridled enthusiasm. It's time to deliver letters and packages across the Grumblewood Grove. Along your journey, you'll get to meet an adorable cast of woodland creatures, all who need your help either delivering packages or finding them lost items. And you'll even get to customize your Mail Scout to your liking with a lot of different customization variations. It's your job to explore, collect Mail Scout badges, Deliver mail and have a relaxing time in this play-at-your-own-pace adventure. Mail Time was one of my most anticipated cozy games of the year, and it didn't disappoint. It has one of the strongest cozy game aesthetics I've ever seen. Totally masters the cottagecore style, and while it is cozy, the platforming is not overly simple. I joked about rage quitting this one many times as I fell off of mushrooms quite a bit. The only negative thing about this one is that it is pretty short and you can accidentally beat the game too soon. But overall, the characters are ridiculously cute, the customizations are very fun, and overall, it is the quintessential cozy gaming experience that I hoped it would be. The next game on the list, controversial compared to the last one, maybe, you'll tell me. The next game on the list coming in at number 10 is called Smooshy Come Home. Smooshy Come Home is a cozy exploration adventure game where you play as a tiny mushroom who is trying to get back home. You'll play as Smooshy, who is taken from their home unexpectedly and dropped into the middle of the forest. Lost and confused, you must journey through different areas of the forest and find your way back with the help of your new tools and fellow forest creatures. You'll run, glide, climb, and swim your way through the different areas of the forest while chatting up the quirky forest creatures you meet along the way, and some of which might offer you their help, and others will ask you for their help. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think it was gonna be as good as Mail Time. I knew there are two cute mushroom games. I thought Mail Time was gonna be the one. I did enjoy both games, but I like this one more. I do like this one more. They're definitely similar, which is why they are right next to each other on this list, but I did enjoy Smooshy more. The world was just so much bigger than I expected, and there was a lot to explore. The characters were also plentiful and adorable. The puzzles and mini-games were the right amount of challenging, and the music and aesthetics were whimsical and cozy, and mainly, it was just a story I was invested in. It's another short game, but I feel like this one you can really stop and take your time with, and it's definitely been one of my favorites of the year so far. We're getting into the single digits now with number 9 on the list. This game is called Planet of Lana. Planet of Lana is a cinematic puzzle adventure framed by an epic sci-fi saga that stretches across centuries and galaxies. The game follows the story of a planet that used to be a place of undisturbed balance between human, nature, and animal, but now has become something entirely different. The disharmony that had been in the making for hundreds of years has finally arrived in the form of a faceless robotic army. Lana and her cat-like companion will need to traverse complex platforms and puzzles to help save their friends and the world. This game is like a literal movie. It is so cinematic, it's insane. While this one might not be the most cozy in its premise, I still found a lot of relaxation even when I was taking on very challenging puzzles and, running away from robots. I really enjoyed the art style, which was so simple yet so effective, and I think that made the dealing with the robots easier for me. And the music as well lent to the overall cinematic feel. The puzzles, again, not overly difficult, but challenging enough that I felt like they were the right balance. And I also have to point out the frequent checkpoints and unlimited lives were a great addition that I think really does make it a cozier game feel. This game definitely has me more interested in some more sci-fi cozy games, so I'm really glad that I got to play this one. Coming in at number 8 on the list, we have a game called Little Friends Puppy Island. Little Friends Puppy Island is a puppy-filled adventure game where you'll get to discover exciting locations, dig up hidden treasures, build and expand your holiday resort, and meet plenty of lovable little friends to care for on your very own tropical island adventure. You'll make your way through tons of areas, gather resources, and help your puppy pals construct an array of new activity spots throughout the island. From puppy spas and puppy schools to frisbee parks and accessory shops, there is plenty for you and the locals to enjoy. This game was such a surprise. I am not gonna lie. I was expecting this to be a not so good version of Nintendogs, and I was wrong. This game is so full of stuff. It does have the puppy care sim stuff you'd hope it to have, like being able to walk the dogs, feed them, play with them, bathe them, but then also way more stuff. It's got a pretty big world to explore. It really does make it feel like a little puppy paradise. It feels wholesome and relaxing, not super high stakes, but plenty of content to keep you wanting to explore more. That was our A-tier games. I feel like that's a pretty good lineup. I know what you're thinking, how could it get better? Just wait. We're moving on to the S-tier games. The last 7 games on the list are the top picks of the year so far. Coming in at number 7 is the only game on this list that is not a part of my monthly review series, because it's the only game I played this year before I started doing that, but I do have a whole gameplay playthrough video if you want to see me checking out this game. This game is called BLANC. BLANC is an artistic, cooperative adventure game that follows the journey of a wolf cub and a fawn stranded in a vast, snowy wilderness. They must come together in an unlikely partnership to find their families. You'll immerse yourself in the stunningly beautiful black and white world of BLANC, which is completely hand-drawn on paper in 2D before coming to life in 3D. BLANC focuses on the journey and the experience of the animals with text-free gameplay and storytelling, allowing the players to completely dive into its wondrous world. And each animal has their own unique strengths that complement the other, and you'll need to make use of both to navigate the landscapes. Using only 2 buttons and movement, the simple gameplay allows for anyone to play and follow the journey home. Mainly, you'll need to guide the characters through the environment, unforgiving weather, and any obstacles that you'll face together. You can play together locally on the same screen or far away in online play. I am aware my love for this game could be biased based off of the experience I had playing this game, which I got to play with one of my YouTube best friends, Sarah Sunstone. We had such a magical morning together playing this game that day, so I do think and realize my experience of the game, playing it and how I got to play it, definitely shapes what I think about it. But regardless, I think this game was so gorgeous. Obviously, the art style is so captivating, but getting to walk through it and interact with it is even better than how it looks in the trailer. I really love that both characters have different abilities and they're totally balanced. It didn't feel like one character was more important than the other at all. The puzzles were quite difficult, and we really did need both of us to figure them out. While it was a short game, it was deeply meaningful to me. The journey I had playing BLANC is a gaming experience I know I'm never gonna forget. Moving on to number 6, this game is called MINABO, A Walk Through Life. MINABO, A Walk Through Life is a social simulation game where you walk the path of life while your turnip grows and thrives, or not, in social relationships. Life starts when you sprout, and then time goes on with every single step you take. And you can set your pace at any moment. You'll live and learn. Surround yourself with other turnips and interact with them to forge your own personality. Mainly, it's your job to keep yourself alive by balancing your physical touch, intimacy, and sense of belonging, and making sure the people around you have enough of that as well. In the game, you can play along to the missions, which basically give you a list of goals for each run of life you take. Some can include living to a certain age, having a certain amount of romance partners, or even the number of pets you acquire. And once you get through 5 of them, you can also unlock free play to live your turnip's life however the heck you like. This is my weird entry for the top 10. There's always gotta be a little bit of a weird entry. This is my weird pick. I know what you're thinking, Peyton, why? What is this turnip game? I love it. I love this weird little turnip game. This is my favorite management game I think I've ever played. It's challenging, wacky, and strangely deep. I love following along the set missions in the game, and even when I lose them and replay them a bunch of times, I don't find myself getting bored of it because I feel like I'm always trying to focus on something different. I like that this game deals with death, but in a lighthearted way, so you don't freak out so much when your turnip friends die suddenly. It's a weird little turnip game about life and what you need to live it. And I love it. The next game on the list is a surprise. I never would have thought When you asked me a year ago when I started playing cozy games that I would enjoy this game, I would have been like, no, wrong, false, that's not a cozy game. I'm declaring it a cozy game. Coming in at number 5 is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. Bayonetta Origins is an action-adventure game that I argue is indeed a cozy game. You play as Cereza, a 15-year-old witch who later goes on to be Bayonetta from the Bayonetta games. But you actually don't need to know anything about Bayonetta to play this, as I did not know anything myself, and I enjoyed it enough that it is number 5 on the list. The story follows Cereza, who runs away from her witch training to find her lost mother in a magical forest. When evil fairies arise, Cereza accidentally summons a demon that takes control of her stuffed cat, Cheshire. From there on, Cereza and Cheshire must work together to explore the woods, learn new magic, fight enemies, and of course, try to find Cereza's mother. In the game, you get to control both characters at the same time, and each of them has their own strengths and weaknesses, and it's a game all about teamwork, but just up to one player to figure it out. I am not the combat queen. I don't really like combat games, but this game made me the combat queen, and I loved every second of it. I loved this game so much. Getting to control both of the characters was so tricky, but it was so rewarding. I really enjoyed the different upgrades you got along the way as you learned more magic, and the world was just so stunning. I feel like it really did make it feel like a cozy and whimsical time, even though there was demons and combat. The voice acting was also wonderful, and it made me really care about the story. And I also love that this game gave you settings to make the game even easier and cozier if the combat was too challenging for you. Top 4, coming in at number 4, we have Roots of Pacha. Roots of Pacha is a farming sim and life sim game that is set in the Stone Age, where you and your clan just settled in a promised and fertile land. By connecting with nature at your own pace, you'll help your clan evolve, develop culture, and relationships. The game puts you on a journey of discovery as you develop the tools and ideas that reshaped the primitive world. You can learn to process and preserve food, begin metalworking, create pottery and art, unlock your clan's spirituality, invent new buildings, and expand your village any way you want. Roots of Pacha is such a refreshing farming sim game. I love this premise so much, and it is not something that I've ever really seen explored before. So many farming sim games are compared to each other for having the same mechanics and premise. But this one takes everything we know and love and completely reinvents it. The characters are plentiful and interesting, the animals are adorable, the fishing and mining aspects are really rewarding and different, and getting to work on your farm in a Stone Age kind of way is something I did not know I wanted to experience. I definitely haven't gotten super far into this farm sim compared to some other ones, but I have gotten far enough to know that it is a spectacular farming game and a spectacular cozy game across the board. Now coming in at number 3, this is the top farming sim game of the year so far, keeping in mind just the games that came out this year. This is my favorite farming sim game of the year. This game is called Sunhaven. Sunhaven is a magical farming sim game that once again takes everything you love about a farming sim, but adds in a million more things. In the game, you have just arrived in Sunhaven, only to find it's been struck by dark magic. With only a handful of money and some rusty tools in hand, it's up to you to build the farm of your dreams. Grow crops, raise livestock, craft items, mine ores, defeat bosses, catch fish, cook recipes, decorate your farm, complete quests, fall in love, and explore what lies beyond the forest of this medieval town. There is so much to do, but mainly, asks the question of can you become the hero of Sunhaven and stir up the darkness before it's too late? It was hard to choose between Pacha and Sunhaven, but Sunhaven is my favorite farming sim of the year so far. It's the one I think about all of the time, and it constantly surprises me. The main storyline feels really rewarding, but you can totally take your time with it if you don't want to speed through it too quick. There are so many characters that are all interesting, very hot, unique, and always have plenty of things for you to do. The customizations for your character are bountiful and beautiful, and you can make your farm extremely intricate with the use of a bunch of processing machines and a wide variety of magical crops. You can also have magic pets, and you can also fish and mine with super fun mechanics. Notably, there's no energy bar in this game to deplete, and you can also save this game at any time, which means you can stop midday. Two features that I think make the cozy gaming experience even cozier. But the best part of Sunhaven is the ginormous world. Sunhaven is big enough, and then there are other places outside of town to explore, with more buildings, more NPCs, more quests, and you can even have multiple houses and multiple farms across all of the different areas. Overall, this farming sim game has taken my heart, and I am so excited to keep exploring it. Number 2, we're almost at the end. Number 2 on the list is a game called RAKUEN. RAKUEN is an adventure game about a little boy who lives in the hospital. One day, the boy asks his mom to escort him to the fantasy world from his favorite storybook so that he can ask the guardian of the forest to grant him one wish. In order to receive his wish, the boy must complete a set of challenges that revolve around helping his neighbors in the hospital by interacting with their magical alter egos in the fantasy world, slowly beginning to realize that all of his neighbors have secrets and struggles that are mysteriously tied to the strange hospital. RAKUEN is the most beautiful game I've ever played. The story is so touching, so emotional, so captivating, and yet still so much fun to play through. The world is stunning. The music might make you cry a little bit, and the characters are so deep and have such important stories, yet the game still has plenty of humor, lightheartedness, and challenges. The puzzles specifically were tricky in this one, but exciting, and oftentimes I felt like I was a detective trying to break the story open wide. All while managing to maintain a calming, cozy adventure, even though it does center around a really deep topic. This game was wow. This game was wow. And here we are, the final game. My favorite game of the year so far. This one was easy for me. The order of everything else was hard, but I knew going into this list which game was my favorite. This game is my favorite. This game is called Coffee Talk. Specifically, we're looking at Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly, as that's the one that's come out this year, but let's just say both Coffee Talk games fall into what I'm about to say. Coffee Talk is a coffee brewing and a heart-to-heart talking simulator about listening to fantastical characters' problems. As the barista at a late-night coffee shop, it's up to you to get to know the characters by serving them the correct drinks, making choices, and maybe even drawing some latte art. Episode 1 came out in 2020, and being the first game, you got introduced to a wide range of colorful characters, from werewolves to vampires, elves, and more, all which have various struggles. And over the course of the game, you get to form relationships and make discoveries about the complicated world you live in. Episode 2, which came out this year, you get to check back in with all of the original characters from the first game and get introduced to some new characters, and most notably, new drink ingredients that make a huge amount of stunning drinks. Episode 2 also introduces some new mechanics not seen in the first game, like being able to hold and give items for guests, which increase the amount of ways the story can go, and also being able to check the characters' social media feeds. At its core, both Coffee Talk games are interactive visual novels with stunning art and the chillest lo-fi beats imaginable. This game was my favorite game of the year so far. I played both games this year. I played them both back to back. I finished both of the games, and so I put like 20 hours into Coffee Talk. The one that came out this year is just as good as Episode 1, which is and that's the one we're focusing on right now. I loved the atmosphere, the graphics, the music, the dialogue, but mainly, the characters are the best. They feel so real and you get so invested in them. And I really think there's not a bad character in this game. There was never a time when someone came in the door and I was disappointed. I love that in episode 2 we see all of the characters from episode 1, but then also we get 2 new characters that are so good and are such amazing additions to the story. I love the coffee mechanic too. It's simple in description, but there are so many different drink combinations, it can be really hard to get them right and discover them all. Especially in episode 2. They really stepped up the drinks by including new ingredients, and I love that you can play through the story multiple times to get each character's arc, and it solely depends on what drinks you serve them. I laughed, I cried, and I literally clapped when I finished playing both episodes. This game took me completely out of my living room on the couch. This game transported me to another world like no other, and for me, that's what cozy gaming is about, and that's why this is my favorite game of the year so far. Oh my goodness, I didn't think we'd make it. We've made it. There you have it. Here is the full tier list. From 39 to 1, ranked every cozy game I've played in 2023 so far from January to June. This is only half of the year. I don't even want to know how many games are going to make it to the list at the end of the year and how long that video is going to be. But thank you guys so very much for watching this video. You've heard my ranking. I want to hear your ranking down below. Let me know. What are your favorite games of the year? What are your least favorite games of the year? What are we still exploring? What are we still figuring out? I want to know. Let me know down below. Please be sure to click the lovely little like button on your way out, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.